coming off of Game 5 with the Thunder up 3-2, and Jalen Williams scored 40 points in Game 5. And look, I believe that there's a world where there's two kinds of people who think Scottie Pippen is overrated, people who think Scottie Pippen is underrated. There is no in between. But after he put up 40 points and people were then making the Scottie Pippen comparison, I'm like, nah. Scottie ain't giving you 40 in that game.
Scottie wasn't that. Scottie couldn't initiate the offense and still be a offensive threat. The beauty about, and I was thinking about this, Bomani, knowing that I was going to be on your show, thinking about two types of scorers that you need on the floor, and also someone else who can benefit from those scores. And you look at Gilchrist and Williams, they're two different type of scorers. Both can get downhill. One's a little bigger in Williams, but the fact that he is bigger, he doesn't settle for the jump shots. And I love that they get them moving instead of a ISO post up. So you look at his points in the paint last night. That's the part that really demoralizes a team because someone just keeps coming. That's what we remember about Kobe with Shaq. He kept on putting pressure on the defense, getting in the paint. It wasn't about settling for jump shots. It was about getting to a point where now when you do take that jump shot, you have so much space. But I love what Williams was able to do. In addition to, you never saw Williams looking at Gilchrist kind of like, no, this is my turn. It's my turn. No, he knows that's the MVP. So when they did their screen and roll, it was more about, okay, I've taken the burden off of Shea because I've been able to do these things. So now let me go ahead and get it to him because the team, or I should say the defense, is preoccupied with what I'm doing because of the attacking.
I feel like I saw both of those guys make like a graduation type step in this postseason because I had questions about, in spite of how good Shai Gilgeous was, and he won the MVP, obviously, and it wasn't like if he did. I thought Jokic was the MVP, but it's not I'm mad this other guy won it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like he was right there in the same space.
Right.
And with Williams, my question was, okay, are we really talking about a number two? Though what it means to be a championship number two is different in this era of parity, right? But did I think, given what I had seen earlier in this postseason, that Jalen Williams could give you 40 in the must-win Game 5? No, I didn't. Did I think that Shai could be the guy to get that 15 in the last 5 minutes, not because he was just hot, but because he was going and getting it? Did I think he could do those things? No. Now that I have seen these things, like I didn't think he couldn't do it, right?
But
it was
he could though.
Yeah, you think about it. This team is only in the playoffs for the second year. That's it.
So let me share something with you about Sam Presti. Sam has developed a great environment there where all the players want to do is become better. And they have the opportunity to do that there. I know it sounds minimal, but it's not a lot of distractions in OKC. If you truly love the game of basketball, you'll be in the gym working on your game, a la Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook, James Harden.
Hold on. And which one of them needed to get out of there?
Come on now. Well, and the one that needed to get out, it was contractual things. And early on with James, you know. But once he got out, he was like, my eyes have seen the glory of what adult establishments are.
Right there.
But they've been able to create that environment there in OKC. And when you have kids today, because you have a lot of players today, Bomani, who love the game and they just want to be in the gym. I remember when Victor Oladipo was drafted to Orlando. Jock had to send him. Jock Vaughn at the time was the coach. He had to send him out of the gym because he'd stay in the gym. You had gym rats, and there was a time where guys would work out for a while, but then it's like, hey, what we doing tonight? You see kind of the effect and impact of what Kobe was. You see the impact of what MJ was as far as, hey man, you got to get better. How do you get better? You put time in on your game. And so for me, I see what they're doing in that culture, because if it's truly about basketball, then this is your Madison Square Garden. You can become any and everything that you want here. We've seen others that's done it, and it's no coincidence that you've had three MVPs to come out of there, as far as Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and Gilchrist.
I was talking about the Desmond Bane trade on Monday. And I still don't know if that's a guy you give up 4 first-round picks for. I don't care. You can explain all the nuances and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm still not sure that's what you do. But the point that I made was I don't know if Orlando, I'm not as wild about Paolo as other people. I think Wagner is good, but I don't feel like they have like that frontline guy. But what they put together is a collection of pretty good players, right? Low spades. I think Paolo's better than pretty good, but I don't see that top guy, except in this new NBA. I don't know how important that is because of the level of parity that's across the league, except Oklahoma City does have that top line guy. And it looks like they might have that classic number 2 guy. And then we start talking about Chet, and they got all the first round picks, and they got a deep team with a bunch of guys who just do stuff. This could be terrifying for a long time. Like, I don't want to act like these finals are over, but even if they not over, next year, I know who I think will win the championship.
So, again, I was going into something about having 2 dynamic scorers on your team. We saw it in Shaq and Kobe. You saw it where Shaq was the most dominant person, that he can get the ball inside to him. And you had Kobe that was able to do things, but it was their system that allowed just 2 guys to be the dominant forces. But you also had guys that could knock down the 3-point shot, as you see with OKC. I have to say this, when you think about the dynamics of what's going on in OKC, it's kind of a la San Antonio. When you have Tony who can get downhill, you have Manu who can get downhill. They get downhill in different types of ways, but they continue to keep the pressure on the defense. And then when it gets too consuming, you can dump it to TD on the block, and he can be that force there as well. So when you look at OKC, I see a lot of the similarities. Chet Holmgren right now, he's doing his part, but he's not required to try to be something else. He is interesting. I thought he was going to have a career night in Indy the other night when he had 15, I think it was, in the first quarter or the first half. And then it kind of went silent. But he gave you something then. And what happens with that is, as he continues to mature, he's going to find other ways to get involved as well. You were saying that no matter what happens now, but looking at OKC's team, the only thing that will hold them back, Bomani, is when if someone decides, yeah, I've had enough of this. I want to go be the guy.
But then they got 13 first-round picks in the next 6 years.
And again, I credit Sam Presti. I saw him in the clip yesterday when they called. It was either out of bounds or something, but I saw him. He looked like he was ready to run on the floor. I remember Sam when he was in his infant stages here in San Antonio. And I'm just proud of what he's been able to do there. But again, you look at what they have going on. They keep it simple, man. They keep it simple. Kids coming there to work, but they understand how important the defensive side is. And, quiet as kept. Indiana, for East Coast team, they're doing it really good on the defensive side as well. They're making them. I felt like they had a chance last night, but I think they cut it to 4 or 6, and you saw OKC settling for a couple of jump shots that maybe shouldn't, or trying to force the issue and having turnovers. But then they got back to that ball movement, body movement, and it was all she wrote.
Yeah, I saw Sam at Summer League, I want to say in 21, and he was like, I pushed back against the allegations that they were tanking. I thought they were going young. Like that's not necessarily the same thing. The process game, they were intentionally trying to be as terrible as possible. That was not the same thing that was going on in Oklahoma City. And Sam was like, I can explain what's going on. I'm like, do you have to explain nothing to me? It's very simple. You got a place where you got to draft the guys and you got to make it worth it for them to stay. And so you're getting all the picks you can so that you can increase the likelihood that you find the guy and show them. And this is, again, different between Philadelphia, because in Philadelphia, they were building losers, right? Oklahoma City was like, we may be losing games, but we are not building losers.
It's interesting how you worded that. I like that. You're building, you're also auditioning kids to see who can handle what. Right. Do you truly love the game? Do I see fight in you right now? Because it's not that you find the fight later on once you get a couple of pieces. It's what happens in the process of the building up. And then you go out and you get the big from kid now. Yes, that came from New York.
Yep.
It's interesting how you look at the dynamics, how things have changed with him on the floor. I love the fact that people talk about guys can't do something in the NBA, but yet still they're on a winning team and they're a great part of that winning formula. So to all those that hear the naysayers of what they say, y'all keep doing what you're doing, because it's not about what others think. It's about what the organization thinks. But, again, these auditions, this is kind of the same scenario when David Robinson was shut down. At that time, you had a bunch of guys, Courtney Alexander. You had all these guys in San Antonio that were getting a lot of minutes. Derek Dial, and people that folks won't know today. But they happen to get that number one pick, and those pieces that play really well were able to fit right along with those guys.